took her 5 times to read the script. I thought my
Yeah.
script was pretty shit. That's what I thought. But then she looked at me. She's like, no, no, it's so close to home. It just feels so personal.
Wow.
And I knew once she said that she's the right person for it. So there are feelings that you see that she goes through. Like for example, the moment that she watches her wedding video and she's crying. That was really from the heart. Like I had to clear the set.
Today we get a deep dive look into the film that won Best Horror at this year's Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas. That film is titled The Vial. And we are joined with director Majid Al Ansari, who peels back so much more layers in this interview to a film that I already appreciated after my first watch. I felt it was very refreshing and brilliant, and a type of film that we don't really get in North America. And what I've learned is out where he is in the Middle East, places like Abu Dhabi, Dubai, this is a little spin on what they're used to as well. And right now we're just gonna hop into this conversation of me bringing up to Majid of what I thought was so special about The Vial. Let's go. Beyond the horror elements, you set this foundation of this serious and interesting drama
Right.
that could have been a movie by itself without the horror. And then you sprinkled in some demons. And I feel like, I don't know, there's just like a lot of filmmakers, maybe they pick one or the other. Like, I feel like you had an idea that could have been two movies, but you
Yeah.
combined it in like a magical way and it all fit nicely like a puzzle. So
Thank
I
you.
kind of want to know, like, where did this concept come from?
Sure, sure. So it was definitely something I grew up around. The subject matter of polygamy is something that I've seen growing up. So it was definitely more there was more polygamous relationship in the previous generations. There's still some today, but it's not as dominant as it used to be. And I knew I wanted to talk about it. I remember there was a scenario when I was like 7 or 8 years old, and one of my best friends in school came to me, and we're kids, right? And he'd be like, I think my father hates me. And I'm like, why? And he's like, oh, because you married a second wife. I don't think he loves us anymore. And that was the first time I knew about poly. I know this happened. And it was always in my head. And as I grew up, I became a filmmaker. I knew I wanted to talk about it with something interesting because you see it in the family, you see it around friends, you see it around, you're exposed to it in our region. Um, so I knew I want to say, but I didn't want to disrespect it because I don't want to make a movie about that's against polygamy because there are people that do it the right way where there's consent, there's an understanding, that's all power to them. But then there are the other side where they don't do it with consent, just like our story, like how Khalid did it, where selfishly he just wanted a boy or he wanted another wife, whatever he wanted, he just did it without the consent of Amani, and he forced her into this polygamous relationship. And it just took some time to really figure out where the horror comes because I'm a genre. I love the horror genre. That's something I love doing. I could have made a drama, you're so right. And I could have made a horror, you're so right. But I wanted to blend in both because it is a new industry that we have as horror and something I love doing. So I wanted to introduce horror to our industry. There's not a lot of Arab horror movies. So, but I know they're not used to it. So they had to balance that drama. That was something I had to do intentionally so I could bring in my. And I always say, if my mom sits down and watches this movie, I want her to enjoy it. I want her to feel and relate to it. She doesn't like horror, but I know because the drama and how I've built Amani, she would relate to her, and she that would bring her into the story itself. So that's the lens I saw the movie as, and that's how I did it.
That's so cool. And it's cool to hear you break it down like that as well. Just the multiple layers of everything too. And even myself, I live in Canada and I've always heard like overseas, there's people have multiple wives or whatever, but I
Yeah.
came from just an area that was like heavy like Catholic, so it was
Hmm.
just like that's like a very taboo. And it's even interesting as
Yeah.
myself as a foreigner to these type of cultures
Hmm.
to get exposed to this in this movie as well. And it just kind of reminded me, it's like, oh, there's different layers of things, and even things I don't usually like think about if like somebody had like a second wife, how it can
Yeah.
just disrupt everything, you know? It's
Oh,
it's
100%,
really
100%.
interesting.
And you can see it like it's a label that we call it like multiple wives or but even in the West you can still see like the guy that has a family and has a mistress on the side that
Hmm.
has kids, a whole different family that no one finds out until 10 years. It's the same betrayal. Like
Hmm.
and that's what makes the movie universal. Yes, it's our part of the region and you see like how it happens here, but it also happens in the East, it happens in the West. So it's about the ultimate betrayal. That's how
Yeah.
it does, which you can see everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. And I liked you kind of answered a question I was going to ask too about making genre films where you're from too, because I
Right.
feel like I haven't seen anything like this. And I was going to ask you, are there more people making stuff like this? So
I wish.
yeah, you're the guy then, right?
But there are a few films
Yeah.
that came out, but not, but it's not a genre. We're definitely more in the drama. There's more drama, more comedies. That's the main two genres that we
Mm,
have. Horror thrillers are up and coming, or that's what we're trying to do. What I'm trying to do, just pushing that genre forward, and but making it relatable. I think that's the main thing. It'll be very hard to making horror just for the sake of horror. It has to be relatable.
mm.
And hey, if drama works, okay, let's start with a drama and then make it to a horror. And that's what the format I did with The Vow.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And I feel like you did it in such a great way of
Thank you.
like it seemed like very seamless of them overlapping. And even I thought what was interesting about the main character, Armani, as she's going through all these like a heavy personal stress in her
Yeah.
life, that's when the spooky shit starts happening.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I find like just even throughout like history and like scientifically, like sometimes people like will just lose their mind when they're under a heavy amount of stress. So
Mm.
throughout the movie, you're almost thinking, is this actually some demonic stuff going down, or is it just in her mind
That's a great
almost?
point, Sean.
Yeah.
That's a really good and this is exactly what you just pointed out is exactly when I was doing the research and I was speaking to a lot of family members that went through it, women that went through it. It's they do lose their mind and the first that because that betrayal and that comes it always comes like how I saw the movie. I remember we had a full act of introducing the family and going on, but the more I researched I realized that no, it's always that punch, it's always a gut punch, it's always comes from nowhere, and that's how the movie it starts. That's where like the knock on the door comes in like what 5 7 minutes in,
Mhm.
and because it's so sudden they lose like I've spoken to women where they lost themselves. They've lost like for a couple of months. It took them time. Like I've talked to them like when I was thinking to them that was 5 years after or 10 years after, but they were surprised into how their personality changed and their brain really kind of warped into this which I totally understand, into this paranoia, into this feeling of abandonment and so that's something that it really and I wanted to reflect that in the movie
Mhm.
because that's the feeling, that's the true feeling from what I've heard and the women that were speaking to me, and even like casting Amani, who played the main role, like she knows the world that we're talking about, and she was like a really guiding light. Like she was like and I knew I wanted to cast her because once I know like it was so hard for her to read the script. I took her 5 times to
Wow.
read the script. I thought my
Yeah.
script was pretty shit. That's what I thought. But then she looked at me. She's like, no, it's so close to home. It just feels so personal.
Wow.
And I knew once she said that she's the right person for it. So there are feelings that you see that she goes through. Like for example, the moment that she watches her wedding video and she's crying, that was really from the heart. Like I was like, I had to clear the set. Like that was a moment where everyone's sitting there and I had to really clear. It had to be just me, her, and the camera, and Benji, who's our cinematographer. We had to clear the set because we really tapped into the real emotions for her to perform those scenes.
Yeah, and you mentioned something I read in your press release too of how you actually like interviewed people who've been through it too. And
Mm.
I think like the work you put in like really shows like in the
Right.
product because there's just something about like the dramatic parts where it just feels like such raw emotion. As you mentioned, you had that moment, you had to clear the set and stuff. And
Yeah.
even as a viewer, like just watching it, I was getting like goosebumps. Again, beyond the supernatural stuff,
Right.
like you're just like feeling like so heartfelt for just the family situation
Yeah.
around it and everything. So
Mhm.
I think it's like so cool that you actually put in the work and like
Thank you.
interviewed people who actually went through this because it shows on film.
Yeah, thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like another thing too. I've thought was like very interesting too about like the demonic layover, and as it like increases as she's having like all these mental stresses and stuff.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I used to like suffer from sleep paralysis,
Okay.
like really
Yeah.
bad.
Okay.
And I noticed there was like certain moments of my life when it would like happen so often. It was always during moments of stress in my life
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
So again, watching this film, again, there's that other layer. I'm like, oh, is she just like seeing these demons, or are they actually there? It's just like
Yeah.
the trauma aspect of everything.
Right. No, no, we have a saying like it's funny to say that we see paralysis we call it in Islam it's Yathoom. So
Oh,
it is I don't know if you've heard of it.
I haven't.
It's the ghost of sleep like it chokes you. That's which is sleep
Mhm.
paralysis.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting you say that. It's a very that was actually a movie I'm developing.
Oh,
So
okay. So, I'm in. I'm a
that's the
fan of
next
this
one.
one. So yeah, we got to keep in the loop. I'll definitely
Right.
interview you again too,
Yeah, no,
because
Yathoom is a very like check it out. It's Yathoom.
yeah.
It's a very big Islamic figure, like a ghost that comes when you're sleeping and chokes you, and that's where we say it, that where you don't move and you have sleep the paralysis. We
Hmm.
believe it's called Yathoom. It's a
Yeah, yeah. That's
yeah,
interesting too. And there's like a pattern of people who get it. They kind of see like a similar thing
right,
too. And
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna sound crazy right now, but it's all good. But it almost
yeah.
makes me think if there's like those like crazy moments that it's happened. It feels so real. It's
Oh,
just
dude, it happened to me a couple of times. It's not a joke.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
sitting
It
there
almost
and
makes me think, is there like another layer to this universe we don't see, and then sometimes you tap in through like a meditation or like half sleep, and then
yeah.
this is there like all the time.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that because in you know in our region we truly believe in it. We truly this is
Mhm.
not it's not superstition. Like for us, it's a belief. Like you know even in the like in the movie, one of the things like the black magic, like we truly believe in that. Like it's something
Wow.
that it's funny. The moment when I was developing it, before I knew that, before I came up with the script. I just didn't know what the angle of the horror is going to come in, and I didn't want to be disrespectful to the subject matter. But I remember having a conversation with my mom, and we were talking about polygamy and going back and forth. And she's like, "Yeah, you know, it's not the first guy's fault. It's not sorry, it's not the guy's fault. It's not the first wife's fault. It's the second wife that she put a spell on the guy that
Mm,
made her that made him marry her." And,
yeah.
and and she looked at me and she was serious, and I forgot that we have that's our culture that we believe there is a belief. Like my wife was in the gym and she overheard a group of women talking about black magic and someone's husband spelled, and so you see it in our culture. So it's not it's something that we believe in, and that was a moment where that became the key. That became the key to making this movie and to introducing the horror. And that's why for me, the drama, I knew the drama, but the horror was hard to just, I don't want to put in for the sake of putting in, but that was the aha moment that I was able to intertwine the horror with it.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, it's crazy. And even you were mentioning how like a lot of the genres over there are dominated with drama and comedy. Do
Mhm.
you think like this film is gonna freak people out who are not used to it? Because I can imagine like if people aren't, because I was getting like some jump scares and I was like comfy at home in front of my computer, like in the with the lights on, and I was still getting like some
Uh,
jumps, but like that seems like another layer of like it being real, for
I hope
them.
so. Yeah, Natasha, I hope so. And I did hit it close to home. So it is part of our culture. We know it. They will of course the people from my region from the Gulf they would watch it with a different lens and it's funny that we did a test screening early on when I was editing. I just wanted to know where the movie stands and the length and there was a moment in the end of the movie where she sees the hole and you just hear the gasp in the theater, and I'm like, oh, thank God, okay, I did it right. Yeah,
Yes,
yes,
you're like, I
okay.
got
So,
him.
so, so they believed in it.
Yeah.
And actually, there was this guy, and everything we've done was referenced in real life pictures. So that the hole was live, what everything that was inside there we did as per the research we've done, seeing and how black magic is done in our region. So
Whoa.
and North Africa. So black magic is very huge. It's very big in the Arab world. So that everything was real life reference. Even the picture that she opens up and you see that scribble, that's all real life. That's something.
Mm.
Even you go on the web and write it in Arabic. I forgot the specific name for it, but you could see the pictures and you can see where we reference it from.
Oh wow, that's so cool. It's just making me appreciate it even more. And you're answering like so many other questions I had as well too. So
Okay.
this is so awesome. It's
Yeah.
like you're kind of filling in a few blanks and also making me just have an extra layer of appreciation. And another thing I really loved was just the overall like look and vibe of it too. Like
Mhm.
you had this certain graininess and some of the shots and feel of things. It reminded me of almost like The Shining,
Yep.
with like the camera going upside down. So are you
Right.
like really big into like classic horror as well?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think I'm definitely a Kubrick fan. Like I'm a big Kubrick fan. I think for here, funny enough, it wasn't even the hard like one of the big references I have for the movie. It's I want inspiration is Fatal Attraction. Like I love psycho Biddy films, right? Whatever Happened to Baby Jane is also another reference that we did for the movie. Like I mean, but Fatal Attraction is one of my main thing because the feeling I got with Fatal Attraction. I always say as a running joke, like as a running joke, anyone of my friends that gets married, my present to them is a collector's edition Fatal Attraction Blu-ray or DVD disc, and they'll be surprised because they're not film, they wouldn't watch it, they don't have a DVD player. But for me, I'm like, you just because I want you to remember, you need to watch this movie so you know you never cheated on your wife. That
Yeah.
feeling of what it came. I remember watching it. I'm like, oh wow, I feel that tensity. Like you don't want to do it. Like it's not worth it. Like what and that was the essence of what how the Val is. Like this is what I wanted. My ultimate goal was for the Val is. You hear like guys joking around. I know it's a joke. I know the couple love each other, but it's like I'm gonna marry someone else on you. And if you don't go do me this meal as a joke, okay, I get it. But still, like sometimes I feel like okay, we don't need to say that. And this is
Mhm.
one of those films, and that's the conversation I want to have after the film is I'm putting weight under that conversation. I'm putting weight under that sentence that you're saying. They just like I know it's banter, I know it's just like as a joke, but I think there's a deeper level to it where like I want the male audience to feel in my generation and the generation after me.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I think you hit it out of the park. And again, I'm not going to spoil the ending or whatever too,
Yeah,
but there is a moral about greed
yeah.
in this film as well. And it's interesting to just hear you just talk from the heart right there as well about just that sacred of love and
Mm,
even beyond having a horror
right,
movie,
right.
you're also sending a message, just
Yeah,
like yeah, just a relationship should be sacred and taken seriously and
100%.
stuff like that. And even like there's moments we joke around, but I kind of like hearing that from you as well, being like maybe we should like even we're going for like the cheap little pop like haha or whatever. Maybe we
Right.
shouldn't say that exactly, It's
Maybe, yeah, and, I agree. Yeah, and it's something, yeah. I know it comes off as a joke, and I'm not knocking it down, but it's like even
mhm.
the woman would say, like my wife comes to me all the time. It's like, hey, listen, if you're not gonna do that, I'm gonna find it. Like she always tells my kids, like I'm gonna find a different daddy. All right,
Yeah.
that is no use for us now. But
Yeah.
again, it's a joke, right? Because it's fine. But yeah, no, but some men, I think when I'm more sensitive to it when it's more serious, when I hear it from my peers and it's a bit more serious. And you know it, you can feel it. The guy that
Yeah.
loves his wife and really doesn't mean it. You kind of feel it. But there's some
Hmm.
guys that do. There's some guys that they're like, yeah, no, I want to get married to a second or third, without thinking through what it does to a family dynamic. And listen, if it's consent, go for it. Like if
Yeah.
you and your wife are both in agreement for it, all right, that's your choice. But when it's not, when it's in secret, or when it's like, because if you look at Khalid's journey could be a secret. Well, my question, my big $1 million question with the movie is like, what if Zahra was pregnant with a girl, another boy? Would he come and say to Amani?
Mm.
That's a big question mark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, my answer, he probably wouldn't.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Hey,
it's
that
interesting.
Yeah, so that's the selfishness that comes in the end. That's the like it's only because so you could look at the backstory of him cheating on his wife, getting her pregnant by an accident, and then by once finding he's a boy, then he introduced her to the family because she already came in pregnant.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
he married her and then he went in. He went in. She was already pregnant.
Yeah, yeah, he was just doing this on the side, and then he was like trying to make it
Yeah,
seem like, "Oh, I'm a good guy for
exactly.
telling you," when really
Exactly.
she
Yeah.
was been a secret this whole time. It's just the ultimate
Exactly.
gaslighting, as they say.
Yes,
It's
yes, yes,
it's
yes. But
insane.
I think that that's a lens because we've met a lot of people that but again I'm not saying it's the majority, of course it's not, but there are the minority that they do this and I think that's where we're talking about how the people will perceive it in my region. I think that's they'll know these like underlining cultural stuff. They'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, because that's something that unless if you're from that region, it would be very hard to understand
Mhm.
that she's pregnant. Like you want to think that way. But yeah,
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But I feel like I'm learning a lot too.
right, right,
This is really cool to hear you break everything down as well. And even as you were talking about like the black magic, and you
yeah.
had like a specific entity attached to
Hmm.
the mistress or whatever.
Right.
Does that come from like some kind of like folklore, or is this
Yeah.
something you made up as well? Or
Yeah, no, no, it's so one of the things that again that's not the majority. I'm not saying it's a majority. It's definitely not a lot of people believe in it, but some people believe, and you hear stories. Like even if you don't believe in it, we hear stories where in our part of the world we believe that a male or female could be in love with a jinn, which is a ghost.
mm,
So that ghost that you see in the end, where it is like that's my thinking where I use that example of folklore and put it in with Zahra. So Zahra is in love with a demonic or like we call it jinn, which is a ghost, similar to a ghost. Um, so she's in love with a jinn, but is using like reversing it on Khalid. Khalid is using her for a boy, but in the end we reveal that it's the other way around because she wants him to be a sperm donor. That's the end
oh,
of it. So that's
yeah.
the whole idea of it. I don't know if it came across, but that's the essence of it.
hmm Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. You brought back just you talking about it. I don't usually talk about like my sleep paralysis stories because over here everybody like I feel like they're gonna think I'm crazy.
Right.
But
Right.
you saying like a ghost could be like in love or whatever. I
Right.
had a very like intense sleep paralysis when I was in
Mm.
my college life, and I remember I was like going through a breakup too. So again, I don't
Right.
know if this is just my psyche or whatever, but I took a nap after school, and then again, I'm all locked up. I'm in my room.
Right.
This entity comes in and starts like ripping all the posters down in my
Okay.
room, like knocking over my computer and blah blah blah. And then it looked at me, and it was a female, and it said "I love you," and then disappeared. And I woke up, and my room was all in like place, and like if nothing got ripped out,
Yeah.
but it just felt so real. So you saying about like the
Oh,
ghosts in
yeah.
love, I'm like, I wonder if that's like one of those ones.
Yeah, if you come to our part of the world and you say that story, they'll definitely have a definition for it. They'll
Yeah.
definitely guide you to the right
Yeah.
to
After
the
that,
right
I
path.
just remember being like freaked out for a week and not telling anybody about like
I
my
don't know,
quote
but
unquote dream. I was just like,
yeah, no, but sleep paralysis is freaky though. It,
yeah,
it is
yeah.
it is such a freaky. Like I've had it twice in my life,
Mhm.
and just being stuck there and you not being able like I don't know what your like specific your experience, but my experience was being stuck in bed, your eyes open, like kind of open, you see in
Mhm.
front, but you can't move, and you're just stuck in the bed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I didn't, but I've heard stories of some people seeing stuff,
Mhm.
seeing things, seeing entities. But yeah, it's a real thing. So no,
Yeah.
definitely research Yathoom. Definitely research it.
I am, yeah, and I'm so intrigued
I hope
about
it
the
doesn't
second.
unlock it again, but
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
probably you. Just like sharing this with you. I'm gonna take a nap after the interview and just be like locked in whatever.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, and I think the scariest thing about it is you have the same thoughts as you are awake. So it's
Right.
almost like you're in a dream, but you can think about like your whole day, what you got to
Yes.
do later, and
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like locked in. And a lot of times you're seeing shit and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
crazy.
yeah, yeah. And so obviously too, like in your director life, it's
Yeah.
you got other projects going on as you're
Hmm.
saying and everything. Are you still going to keep it like like the style of like half dramatic and half horror? Because I feel like this was like a special film I just watched,
Yeah, no,
and
yeah,
yeah,
listen, I would love, I love, okay, maybe, yeah, probably, because that's what I lean to. I want to relate to it. It's definitely going to be part of the culture I grew up with, something I understand. And I always say, like, hey, what is new I'm going to bring to the table in the cinematic world, right?
yeah,
What is my take on that topic? I definitely want to continue the horror. I definitely want to continue the genre. It's just a matter of finding the right story. Like, for example, like if you say zombie movies, for example, one of my favorite zombie movies that came out recently was Train of Busan.
yeah.
I know they're trying to do I think was it Subway to New York or Train to New York? But for me, the original Train of Busan has something very beautiful in it. And I don't know if you watch it, if you had the chance to watch it yet.
That's one I've been meaning to watch. I remember like
You
when it
watch
came
it.
out, I saw the trailer and I was intrigued, but you
And
just reminded me to check
yeah,
it out.
and just remember one thing, we're an hour in, that there's a dramatic turn. There's a beautiful, beautiful scene in the middle of it that brings heart to it. Because I love the zombie films, they fall into the trap of, hey, it's the action, it's the big sets, it's the running zombies, it's but Train to Busan and did that, but then like an hour in brought this emotional core and heart to the film that kept you like I mean an hour in you just it becomes like it starts turning, it becomes more emotional.
Oh
And
wow.
it's such a beautifully done movie. And for me, it's films like that I look up to. I'm like, oh wow, this is yeah, it's a horror movie, it's a zombie movie, but there was a different fresh take. It's a human take. There's a human core to it that anyone in the world could read. I think that's why Train to Busan was successful around the world, is because
Mhm.
any person could. And I remember I was watching it with one of my friends who's not into the Korean, who doesn't is not into Korean cinema, and he's like, I'm like, hey, let's watch this movie. He's like, oh no, first of all, I don't like zombies. Second of all, I don't know, I never watched Korean cinema. Like, I don't want to read subtitles. And which, okay, you don't want to, but I forced him. Like, I'm like, hey, let's just watch this.
Mhm.
And I swear to God, like after the movie finished, he looked at me. He's like, I want to watch more Korean movies.
Oh yeah, he's a
I
fan
love
now.
it so freaking much that because it spoke to him. It's like he hates zombie movies and
Oh
but
yeah.
still spoke to him, and that's for me is an achievement of a filmmaker, of a horror filmmaker, and what they did there was incredible. So for me, it's definitely that kind of style of films that I love. I tend to go with and definitely if I want maybe not as intimate and not as hardcore as I did with the because it's gonna be a different subject matter, of course, but definitely have that emotional line and dynamic.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that makes it extra special than
Yeah,
just the novelty of the horror, when
it's
something like
accessible and relatable, right?
hmm
Yeah.
definitely. One I always use as an example for like the past like 20 years. I remember watching The Devil's Rejects for the first time. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've seen that.
Yes, I
Like,
did.
and it's
Yeah.
just like at the beginning, you're introduced to these terrible people and they're doing
Right.
terrible things, but you're on the journey with them. And then all of a sudden, by the end of the movie, you start like you're almost like in love with all the killers and the cops are the bad guys. And it's
Yes.
like, what happened there?
Right.
It's just that
No, that's
extra.
great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good filmmaking. That's just good filmmaking. It's just because every story has been told. Like every story has been told. Like it's just like every love song. Every love song is the same, but
Mhm.
but every take is different, and every take is original.
Definitely. And
Yeah.
I feel like what's super special about yours too, coming over to North America and me watching it in Canada too, it's even like just the setting, like you mentioned too, like just the relationship dynamics of multiple marriages too. And like it was such a fresh story for me. And no doubt, like I feel like a lot of people are gonna watch your film and be or almost feel like I haven't seen anything like this
Right.
before too, which is very refreshing. And I believe it. Are you having the world premiere tomorrow? Is it
Yes.
or?
Yes. Tomorrow.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm really excited to almost
Thank
hear
you.
like feedback, and even after that, I'm probably gonna go online and just
All right.
see if people felt the same, which I believe they will. Like, so
I
this
hope
has got
so.
to be exciting time for you. Like, how do
Thank
you
you,
feel
Sean.
going into all this?
I'm excited. I'm really, really, really excited. Fantastic. My first film was here 10 years ago.
Oh, cool.
And now 10 years later, I have my second film being here. So it's a special festival. It's a special, I mean, the people that come here are fans and they love the genre. They love are fans of the genre and they love the genre. And it's a great home to be or a great start for the movie. Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like you said, it's like kind of a festival for people who do appreciate
Yeah.
that style. Me being in Canada last couple of weeks, we had TIFF, the Toronto International
Right.
Film Festival.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that goes on during TIFF that I
Midnight
love because it
Madness.
reminds me of Fantastic. It's
Yeah.
you mentioned
Yeah.
Midnight Madness, and I try to go to every one I
Right.
can, and
Yeah.
it's almost because of the feeling in the room. It doesn't feel like I'm in a movie theater. It almost turns
Yeah.
into a rock concert, like
Oh,
people
dude.
yelling and screaming and
100%, and that's what's beautiful about it. And it's funny, like so my wife came along this time for the Val, and yesterday we were in it's the opening. It was the opening movie, and then there was the bar, the High Roller Bar, I think it's called, which was attached to it, and there was this rock band, and I was just sitting there because we don't get that. We don't have that in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or the UAE.
Mhm.
So it's nice. It's that people are different, and we're chatting to people, and just the passion was it's just and I'm sure it's there in Midnight Madness. It's here. I'm sure the festival, like I'm sure it's in Citrus, and so it's really nice to be in that environment. It's really nice to have people that are that passionate. And then for me as a filmmaker, man, anyone that tells me, hey, whether you like it or not, like this is a moment for me to listen, right? It's
Mhm.
hard to find this audience back home because it's such a new genre.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, I love that you get that experience too, and even around it, the energy, the excitement
Yeah,
around it. Um, Big standout of Midnight Madness this year was a film called The Furious, and it was made
heard
by
about
like
it.
the people
Yeah,
like from Raid Redemption and blah blah blah, and all the
right,
cast didn't see it. They played it, and there was just a buzz after it. Like it's
right,
2 a.m. We're all outside the theater. All the actors are there. Everybody just hanging with the people, all
right.
talking and like I don't know. You like you mentioned it's kind of like rare for like a film to like
Oh yeah,
have that, and almost like you said in Dubai, like maybe you'll play the film, but it's like more
yeah,
like people see it and then they leave. It's not like
exactly.
this
And you're hanging,
celebration.
exactly. And you're there. It's like, all right, yeah, exactly. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of cinema. I think that's the best way of putting it. I think Madness has the same spirit as Fantastic Fest that I'm sure that Sitges has, and no, it's incredible.
Yeah, most definitely. And I guess like as a final question, we get a lot
Sure,
of
of course.
creators who listen to these segments themselves
Sure.
too. And would you happen to have maybe any general advice for a brand new filmmaker who has this really big idea they want to bring to life?
I think just believe in your idea and make it personal. I think that's one thing I've learned from the VAS specifically is the more personal, the more you see yourself in the story, the more drive it will help your drive even more. The more closer to home, and you understanding the topic is extremely important. And yeah, and just like do it. And that's one thing that I wish like someone told me this 20 years ago. Just do it. Just take
Yeah.
your iPhone and do it. That's it's sometimes we get bogged down by oh what camera, what lens, and what I think at the end of the day, a story is a story. That's what's special about it. It's not the camera, it's not the lenses, it's not the big lights, or it's definitely if you hone it down to a story. And some of the best cinematographers will say the same thing.
Hmm.
And I was lucky to work with Benji on this and Benedict, some of the great creatives, and that's all our heart was about. It's about pushing the story forward and really making a dent.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like sometimes us as creators too, we are naturally overthinkers. It's a gift
Yeah.
and a curse at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And you
Definitely.
mentioned something at the beginning of the interview too, where the actress who played Armani
Hmm.
got so emotional in your script, and you were mentioning you were kind of like in your own head, like, "Oh, does this suck?" But she's like, "No, this is amazing." So
Yeah.
again, like as cliche as it sounds, you just kind of
Yeah.
gotta do it and go through the emotions. So I almost know that those
Right.
thoughts are part of the battle, of like
Right.
what makes it
100%.
work.
Yes. Yes. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a brand new fan.
Thank you,
I'm
Sean.
I'm excited to just see the reaction of people as this movie gets released, and excited for your next one. I feel like just The Vial itself is just a brilliant piece of just drama and horror, and standing ovation to you.
Thank you, Sean.
And
Appreciate it.
yeah, I'm just looking forward to what's next in your career.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and hopefully we can talk around the next one as well.
For sure. I can't wait.
Hope you enjoyed our behind the scenes look into The Vial. Want to take a second and apologize about my microphone quality during this interview. I didn't realize that my voice was only being recorded by my webcam and not my microphone. Sorry for sounding like a tin can, but all the important stuff from Majid, the stories around The Vial, you could hear him perfectly, and I'm very excited to see what's next in his career. We recorded this one before the Fantastic Fest premiere, and as I mentioned in the intro, it won Best Horror of the festival. Again, a million times in this interview, I said over and over that this one was special. Horror with a twist, or drama with a twist. Why not both, as the meme says? And before we ride off into the sunset, I can't run away without thanking all you legends on our Patreon page. But first up, to the Queen, Ola Mazuka of Sonic Fold. Another huge thanks to Amanda McKnight, aka VampX13 on YouTube and VampX13 on Twitch. Check out VampX13 if you're into nerd and geek culture. Another big thanks to one of our longest supporters, the wonderful Jenny Potter, the #1 gent, Alan Kent, and last but not least, Francis Coffer, aka my mom. If you want a shout out at the end of every episode and also get these episodes early, raw, uncut, right when I'm done the Zoom call, I just post them, you can go to patreon.com/The Imbalance. It's only $3 a month, the price of a cup of coffee. And beyond having my forever thanks, you can just go to bed at night and sleep soundly knowing you're a badass motherfucker who supports raw, uncut, independent media. And nobody can take that away from you. You hear me? With that being said, we got so much more around the corner. We're posting a Q&A for another film that premiered at Fantastic Fest, Deathstalker. And also, at the Toronto premiere of Deathstalker, we became buddies with one of the actresses, and she's gonna be on the show real soon. So, appreciate you guys listening once again, and we will catch you real soon. Mwah.